Good evening, everybody. We're going to get started shortly. We're just going to give it just a minute or so so people can continue to log on. But thank you all for joining us this afternoon for our construction update community meeting. We have some exciting stuff to share with you, progress here along the I-5 corridor. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So once again, good evening, everybody. Thank you once again for joining us this evening for today's I-5 North County Enhancement Project Construction Update Community Meeting. My name is Soraya Sandiford, and I am the Community Relations Manager for this project. We appreciate you taking your time to join us this evening and stay engaged as construction continues here on the I-5 corridor. Next slide, please. For those who have joined us for previous meetings, welcome back. And for anyone who's joining us for the first time today, welcome. So today we'll provide an overview of where the project stands, so what we've accomplished, and most importantly, what you can expect as the public as we move on to these next phases of construction. Next slide, please. And before we get started, I also just want to say thank you all to everybody. We know this is a major construction project happening within your community, and we truly appreciate your patience and your continued engagement with our team throughout the duration of construction. And then just at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Glyza Robles. She is the manager for the strategy and programming unit at Metro. She'll walk us through some housekeeping items as well as some Metro agency updates. So, Liza, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Soraya. Good evening, everyone. As Soraya said, my name is Glyza Robles. Happy to be here with you for a few moments this evening to share some important information with you. Before we get into the meat of the presentation, we do have some reminders. If you didn't already know, this is a webinar format for the Zoom. This means that your cameras and microphones are muted, and you will see that there is a Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen, and that's where you can submit questions. We have team members from the I-5 construction project who will be keeping an eye on those, and if you have questions during the presentation, type it in there, and we'll work through those and then have the Q&A at the end of the presentation as well. This meeting is being recorded so that we can post the recording and this information on our project website. Next slide. Welcome again to this presentation. I'm going to go through a few of our Metro agency updates, and then I'll hand it back over to Soraya to give you some information about construction activities, and then Cindy Aurora will also join us and share some important information. And as I said, we'll circle back and do Q&A at the end, and we have other team members from the project who can support us with that as well. Okay, time for some agency updates. If you didn't already know, the Metro app is available on the Apple App Store as well as Google Play. This is the easiest way to plan your trips, whether you're taking bus or rail, or if you need to connect from your different destinations. No longer do you have to switch between your GPS apps and figure out everything is all in one spot. And our team is actually really excited to announce that we hit 100,000 downloads. And my family actually uses it on the daily. So I'm happy to report that the app does work, and it is reliable. It tells us when our bus is coming and when we can expect our trip. So go check that out. Next slide. Another great update from Metro is that you can pay for your fare, whether on bus or on rail, directly from your debit card, Apple Pay, or Google Pay from your phone. You will get 2 hours free transfers um, from those devices when you use that. And if you are a reduced fare user or a Go Pass rider, we do encourage you to still use those tap cards so that you can have those benefits. And we are expecting to have those benefits roll over to reduced fare credit and debit in 2027. Next slide. Our Metro Safety Department has launched a new public safety hub and dashboard. You can go to metro.net/safety to get all the information you need regarding the safety data, rider resources. You can get more information from regarding our Metro Transit security officers and what Metro is doing to keep everyone safe. Next slide. And lastly, these are all the ways that you can stay connected and make sure that you get all of our Metro updates. We have our website, metro.net, as well as the different ways you can receive emails, whether it's for this project or any other updates you'd like to receive throughout LA County. We do have a regular Friday email and then a monthly newsletter that also goes out. So if we didn't already say it earlier, these slides will be available in the recap email as well as on the project website so that you can refer to it and then click on those different links so that you can subscribe to get those regular updates. Next slide. And now I get to hand it back over to Soraya to share some information about the project. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Glyza. As you guys can see, we have a lot of great initiatives that are coming to Metro. So please take advantage of all the great things that are going to be happening to our rail and then online and in the App Store. So now I'm going to give everyone a quick refresher on the I-5 North County Enhancement Project before we get into the meat of the project, which is the construction update section. So just to give you a little background on why this project is so important. Next slide, please. Santa Clarita is the third largest city by population in Los Angeles County, and its population is expected to increase by more than approximately 25,000 people by the year 2035. So in preparation for that continued growth, and to help relieve congestion throughout the Santa Clarita Valley, Metro and Caltrans District 7 have partnered together to make these operational and safety enhancements along the Interstate 5 in northern Los Angeles County. So our project limits primarily start from the SR 14 interchange, and they'll go just south of Parker Road in Castaic. This project does include a number of major improvements throughout the corridor. These improvements include 14 miles of HOV lanes in each direction, so both those northbound and southbound direction, 4 sound wall segments consisting of 12 sound walls, the replacement of the Weldon Canyon Road Bridge, which was a huge and very successful milestone for the project, 7 bridge widenings, which I'll get into a little bit through the project presentation, the extension of the truck lanes, approximately 13.6 miles of median pavement, which we have successfully completed, and 43 retaining walls. This project also includes improvements to the Intelligent Transportation System, also known as the ITS, which is located between I-405 and the I-210. So essentially, that ITS is a traffic control and information system that supports the communication throughout the freeway system. So it includes features like counting stations, CCTV, ramp metering, which also help to improve safety, manage traffic incidents, and reduce congestion. And now that we covered the overall project limits and scope, let's take a closer look into one of the improvements that has been particularly important to the surrounding community, our sound walls. So next slide. So in the southbound I-5 direction, the sound wall segments are located 2 different locations. So north of Hasley Canyon Road and also between Magic Mountain Parkway and Valencia Boulevard. And then on our northbound I-5 direction, those two segments are located just south of McBean Parkway and north of Calbro Boulevard. Next slide. And our primary conceptual schedule. This slide gives you the big picture schedule. So as you can see, stage one, it primarily focused on that median construction, HOV, those walls and those bridges. We have successfully moved out of stage one construction and now are in full throttle in stage two. And then stage two, which if you guys driven on the 5, you'll see that our working stations have flipped from that median since that work is done to the outside shoulders. And now we're focusing on finishing up work in the auxiliary lanes and the ramps. And now we are quickly approaching that entering stage 3 construction, which would include work to the exterior retaining walls. And as you can see, we've made substantial progress. The current schedule shows that we are anticipated to be completed in the spring of 2027. And as always, this schedule is subject to change. So the best way to stay up to any particular changes to a schedule would be to join these meetings and join our email lister, which I'll give that information later on in the project. So next slide, please. Okay, so now we're going to get into the main focus of tonight's meeting, which is the upcoming construction. We know this information impacts your day-to-day travel the most. So tonight we want to make sure that you, the public, understand not only the work that is upcoming, but where and when you may see impacts throughout our project corridor. Next slide. And before we do that, I do want to take a moment to recognize our contractor, OHLA USA. This year, OHLA, their crews have assisted in responding to a couple of fires along the I-5 corridor. So they helped address these incidents before emergency responders did arrive on site. So in July of this year, OHLA, their crews responded to a big rig fire on the northbound trick route within our project area. The crews used their water trucks and other resources to help extinguish the fire and secure the area. And then again in August, the crews stepped in again to assist with another big rig fire on the southbound I-5 near Valencia Boulevard. So we really did want to take a moment to just recognize the OHLA team for going above and beyond their construction responsibilities and helping keeping our roadways and our projects safe for our community and for the people that are driving on there daily. So just once again, thank you to OHLA and their entire team. Next slide, please. So now we're going to look at the construction through the remainder of 2026. So as you can see, we are focusing on these 3 main areas: bridges, walls, shoulders, and ramps. So our bridge work will continue at Weldon Canyon Bridge, Gavin Canyon Bridge, Rye Canyon Bridge, and Magic Mountain Parkway through the ending of the year. Cindy is going to give you a little bit of update on what we're doing at each of those segments and shortly. And then at our wall activity, it includes the retaining wall work, the northbound truck route, work near Weldon Canyon Road overcrossing, and some sound wall work. And then just project wide, you'll continue to see us do work at those drainage barriers, signage, pavement, and outside shoulder reconstruction, as well as doing some work to those lighting and ramp metering and other roadway improvements. And now that you have an overall picture of some of the work that's going to be happening, I'm going to pass it to Cindy, who is our contractor communications manager with OHLA, who's going to take you into more detail and give you more detail about this construction going throughout the corridor.
Thank you. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Cindy Aurora, and I'm the communications manager for OHLA. In this portion of the presentation, I'll be discussing key developments as well as upcoming work we can expect to see for this project in the coming months and into the next year. So with slide 17, we're going to be starting with Gavin Canyon Bridge. This I-5 bridge crosses over the old road between Calgrove Boulevard and Weldon Canyon Road. The team is currently performing concrete barrier work and joint seal replacement at the bridge. Because of this work, traffic control and intermittent closures along the old road will remain in place through summer 2026. Work is taking place Monday through Fridays from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m., with Saturday work scheduled as needed from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. The image shown here was taken in March 2026 and highlights the ongoing construction activities at Gavin Canyon Bridge segment. Next slide. Next, we have Magic Mountain Parkway Bridge. This I-5 bridge crosses over Magic Mountain Parkway between the Old Road and Turney Road. The bridge extension at this location was completed in February 2026. Current work includes crash sidewalk construction and roadway restriping. There are nightly intermittent closures along Magic Mountain Parkway between the Old Road and Turney Road, and this will continue through winter 2026. Work hours include weeknights and Saturdays as needed, 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. Closure limits are Magic Mountain Parkway between the Old Road and Turney Road. The image showed here was taken in March 2026 and highlights ongoing construction activities at the Magic Mountain Bridge segment. Next slide, please. Next is the Rye Canyon Road Bridge. This I-5 bridge is located between the Old Road and Avenue Stanford. The current activities include slope paving and roadway work, and these have been completed. We are currently working on draining work, abutments, sidewalk construction, and restriping. This is ongoing. We have intermittent closures of Rye Canyon Road, and these are ongoing through September 2026. Work hours are Monday through Friday and Saturdays as needed from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. We do have closure limits eastbound and westbound Rye Canyon Road between Avenue Stanford and the Old Road. The image displayed here was taken in March and highlights ongoing construction activities at this bridge segment. Next slide, please. Next is the outside shoulder extension and retaining wall work near Magic Mountain Parkway and Bisqualuz Drive. The project team has completed all major concrete work for the retaining walls. At this stage, there's only minor activities remaining for 2 retaining walls along Southbound Interstate 5. The images shown here were taken in February of this year, and they highlight the NB retaining wall construction activities as crews continue final work in the area. Next slide, please. Next, we have an update on the sound wall construction activities along NB and SB Interstate 5. First, we have Castaic sound wall between Hasley Canyon Road and Via Canyon Road. Roadway and pavement work has been completed. With the Valencia sound wall between Valencia Boulevard and Magic Mountain Parkway, installation of transparent panels was completed in summer 2026. And finally, Calgrove sound wall between Calgrove Boulevard and Lyons Avenue, scaffolding, block wall installations, and paving was completed in summer 2026. All construction work in this area has been completed at this juncture. The images shown here were taken between January and March 2026 and highlight construction activities on Castaic, Valencia Boulevard, and Calgrove Boulevard sound wall segments as crews continue final work in the area. This concludes my portion of the presentation. I'll now hand it over to you, Soroya, to walk us through additional details.
Thank you, Cindy. So as you guys can see, there is quite a bit happening throughout the project corridor. So I'm going to continue with some of the work that has been recently completed and focus on several activities that will be particularly important to the community to know about in the coming months. So starting with our Valencia traffic shift. So at that southbound Valencia on-ramp, we have done a shift, a long-term traffic shift associated with that stage two construction that I talked about earlier in the presentation. So this involved removing that existing striping and installing new striping and adjusting those concrete barriers. So this lane configuration is anticipated to remain in place until about October this year, with intermittent nighttime lamp closures generally happening between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. Next slide, please. And there are going to be additional shifts coming through to the project alignment through the remainder of the year. So beginning in September, we are going to have some long-term lane configurations happening the eastbound SR 126 ramps at the southbound I-5, those southbound Rye Canyon on and off ramps, as well as the truck scales on the truck route and also the southbound Hasley Canyon off ramp. And because these shifts require restriping and concrete barrier adjustments, just pay attention when you're traveling in those areas, because the roadway configuration may look a little different than what you are accustomed to. Next slide, please. And here is another really good snapshot of how far we've come in our project alignment. So as a part of our scope of work, we have 8 ramps that we are doing enhancements to, and we have successfully completed 6. So that leaves only 2 remaining. And those 2 are those southbound Hasley Canyon on-ramp, Sedona Way, as well as the eastbound Valencia on-ramp leading to the southbound I-5. So you can anticipate for the work to be happening in the next few months. And I'll give you a little bit more details on that in the next slides. But another really exciting update to share is that we have only about 44% of the paving remaining in the project wide. So we've successfully completed 60% of the paving through our project alignment. Next slide, please. So going back to one of those remaining ramps that we have, the southbound Hasley Canyon Road, that's Sedona Way. It will be a long-term full closure of that ramp. So that is anticipated to begin in mid-September. So you can expect for that ramp to be closed to the public 24/7 while that work is being completed. The detour that we will be using while this ramp is closed is that we're going to be detouring traffic that's going northbound on the old road to that northbound Hasley Canyon hook on ramp. Next slide, please. And then the final long-term ramp closure, like I mentioned, will be taking place at that eastbound Valencia on-ramp. So this will also be another long-term closure that will be happening in September, particularly in the late September, similar to the other long-term closures we have completed. It will also be closed to the public for 24 hours, 7 days a week while we complete that construction. And during this time period, we will be detouring traffic onto the old road, onto Stevenson Ranch Parkway, McBean Parkway to enter back onto that southbound 5 from there. And we do anticipate that both of these ramps are going to be closed into about October of this year. Next slide. And then also we want to give everybody advance notice on some of the larger freeway impacts coming up. So we do have some permanent signage installation that is anticipated to be happening starting next month into about February of 2027. So those will require to successfully install those signs. It will require 1 to 2 night closures in either the north or southbound directions. So again, please, once those details are finalized, we're going to be sharing them with the public. But again, the best way to stay up to date is to join these meetings. If you haven't already, please join our email distribution list where we send out, the most up-to-date information that's happening on the 5. And then also in November, we are planning to do our joint sill replacement at that Gavin Canyon undercrossing bridge. So that is anticipated to be 2 to 3 nights of lane reductions between Walden Canyon Road and Calgro Boulevard. So this is anticipated to happen over 2 separate weekends. So again, once those details are finalized, we'll be sharing that information with the public so you guys can prepare for what will be happening in the project and be able to plan your detours efficiently. And then finally, next slide. Awesome. And so we do recognize that freeway closure doesn't just affect the I-5, it does affect the surrounding community. So that's why our traffic management includes those changeable message signage and detour signage that you see throughout the project alignment, as well as we do coordinate our navigation and put our detours into systems like Google Maps and Waze. And then we also coordinate with our emergency responders to make sure that they know the upcoming closures so they can plan accordingly and be available to help the community in any potential emergency. Next slide, please. And we continue to hear and understand the community concerns regarding construction noise. That's why this project operates under a noise control plan, has been administered and reviewed by an acoustical engineer. So noise is monitored and reported throughout the project alignment, and it is mitigated when those levels do exceed the Metro or Caltrans criteria. So we do use these sensitive noise receptors throughout the project alignment that help us monitor and make sure that we are staying within the permitted levels during any of our construction activities. Next slide. And the same also applies to dust and stormwater management. So our environmental engineers, they oversee any potential fugitive dust and stormwater plans. So those measures that our team has been using to continue to monitor any potential fugitive dust is using water trucks, erosion control, track out control, making sure that our crews have reduced vehicle speeds throughout the project alignment, and covering and protecting any inactive stockpiles and storm drains. And most importantly, when we do receive community complaints and those concerns are coordinated with the project team so we can be sure that those concerns are investigated and addressed in a promptly manner. Next slide, please. And then next, just a quick reminder about our upcoming holiday closure restrictions. So we do have a few coming up. So first one is Labor Day. So there will be no closures in our project alignment starting that Friday, September 4th, and they go all the way into the morning of Tuesday, September 8th. We will be also observing closure restrictions around Indigenous People Day. So that's going to be happening from October 9th until the morning of October 12th, as well as Halloween, which is on October 31st. So these restrictions are intended to minimize construction related impacts during periods where we know there's going to be an increased holiday traffic. Next slide. And then one more safety reminder, the speed limits through our project corridor is 55 miles per hour. So please stay alert, merge early, avoid distractions, and don't speed. The conditions can change as construction progresses, and our crews are working very closely to live construction. So, just for the safety of our workers and yourself, we do ask that you guys, when you're in our project alignment, that you drive within that 55 miles per hour. And also just to remember that those fines are doubled within the working zones. Next slide. And then please save the date for our next I-5 North County Enhancement Project construction update meeting. So that is scheduled for Wednesday, November 4th, 6 p.m. There, we're going to be continuing to provide updates to you guys as a community as we move through these upcoming construction activities. So please feel free to join us again for our next update or to share this information with anybody in your community that you think it will be useful for. Next slide, please. And then, like I've been mentioning, one of the best ways to stay connected with us and up to date in between these meetings are to join our email distribution list, or we have a Facebook group dedicated to not only all of the great things that are happening on the I-5, but the entire Northern County. So if you'd like to stay up to date, I would say join that Facebook or get onto our email distribution list. But then if you do have any concerns or any questions, outside of this meeting, you can always contact us project hotline. So that number is 213-922-2772, or email us at I-5 enhancements at metro.net, or you can always visit our project website for the latest construction information and updates. And you can also, of course, always reach out to myself, the community relation team, with any related questions or concerns. Next slide. And before we move into the Q&A, we have one small favor to ask. We would really appreciate your feedback and learn how you learned about tonight's meeting. So if you can take a moment to scan the QR code on the screen or use the link provided, that information will help us understand how we're reaching Santa Clarita community and where we can improve our outreach. So thank you for taking a moment to participate. Awesome. And with that, it concludes our construction update. Thank you guys again for spending a part of your evening with us and for staying engaged, and especially for your patience through these remaining construction activities. I'm going to pass it back to Glyza so we can begin our question and answer and discussion section.
Thank you, Soroya. We did receive a few questions already. You can see the Q&A feature at the bottom of the screen. Go ahead and submit your questions there. Soroya and the rest of our project team will help us get through these questions and answer them for you. And as we said earlier, this meeting is being recorded, and all this information will be shared in the recap email as well as on the project website online. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Soroya, I know that you had a few slides talking about dust mitigation and noise mitigation. We did have some concerns about that in the Castaic area. Did you want to come back or did anyone else from the team want to add more information about the dust and noise mitigation for the project?
Yeah, so we have been actively monitoring, like I mentioned, the noise levels and the dust mitigation in those communities, in that community. So like I mentioned in our slide, for noise mitigation, we do have those receptors that are placed throughout the project alignment that are monitoring our noise levels. And I'm happy to report that none of the activities that we have had over the last 5 years or within these last few months that we have gone over those permitted levels. So like I said, we do have our environmental team that's actively monitoring those noise levels to ensure that, like I said, we are remaining in those permitted levels and we're not exceeding them. And then regarding dust, we do know that it is getting warmer and it is drier in the area. So our team has taken additional measures to help with dust mitigation. So we have been actively deploying additional water trucks. So as a part of our project scope of work, we already have water trucks that are flowing throughout the project corridor because it is getting warmer it's warmer during the summer. We do have additional water trucks in those areas. Like I mentioned, we do have that track out control, erosion control, as well as reminding our crews to have reduced speeds in the area to help with dust.
Thank you, Soroya. Another question that we received was regarding the I-5 overpass departure at Magic Mountain Parkway southbound. The question is regarding the steel plates there. Is that something you or any of our project team can speak to?
Hey guys, yeah, this is Matt Walsh, the project manager for Metro. So that project is an ongoing Caltrans project to repair the joints at that bridge. They are working to resolve the issue with those plates there. Unfortunately, there were some items of work that result in them needing to place those plates for the safety of the public. We do understand that it's not ideal and it does cause, I don't want to say an issue, but maybe difficulty for some vehicles that are lower riding on the freeway. So they are working to get that closed out as soon as possible. I do not have a date on that. You would be able to reach out to Caltrans potentially and get an answer. But that is not part of our project. That is a project that Caltrans is performing within our limits.
Thank you, Matt. Another question we received is about the Southbound Sedona Way and Hasley Canyon Road on ramps. Seems that there was possibly a miscommunication about the ramp closures. Soraya or anyone else from the team, are there future plans to close more than one ramp at the same time? Did you want to speak to that?
Yeah, of course. So, as a part of our project contract, we're not allowed to close two consecutive ramps at the same time. So, there is never going to be an instance where our contractor is allowed to have two consecutive ramps closed one time.
Sounds good. Um, we did get another question regarding this presentation, and as we said earlier, we will be posting this recording as well as the PowerPoint slides on the project website, and you can also get all of the information through the emails. Just go ahead and sign up there, and you can get those updates from our project team regularly. And I know that there were a few questions that were asked and answered throughout the presentation. Soraya, did we want to go through and answer any of the landscaping questions?
Yeah, I can go ahead and address that. So we had a question that was asking about the landscaping along the old road in Castaic, so particularly referring to that sound wall segment there. So for the area starting at Hasley Canyon Road, um, the plans include erosion control, low-laying plants, so coastal sage shrubs and drainage swaddles. So that is all similar landscaping that was already existing in the area. So we're just, doing adding existing landscaping or existing plants to the area. And that is going to be installed at that sound wall segment by the ending of the project, which is early spring of 2027.
Thank you. Now, we did get a question regarding planning for this project, and we do know that it does take quite a bit of coordination with third-party agencies and, coordinating with Caltrans. Soraya or Matt, anyone else from the team want to speak to the planning that went into doing this project before we started all the work out there on the I-5?
Sure, Glyza. Yeah, this is Matt Walsh again. So obviously, projects of this magnitude, there are years of planning in advance to ensure that we are not only performing work that meets the needs of the public, but also resolves potential issues for down the line. I know there's a specific question about traffic and the concern that the project will not be able to maintain flow along the highway once this project is complete because of increase in traffic in the area. So the number one reason this project was put into place was because of the significant increase in traffic that is planned based on the high rate of growth for the area. So I know the traffic volumes can seem heavier during construction due to the reduced lane availability when we do take one or two lanes to work on the inside or outside, as well as unfortunately a lot of drivers tend to get distracted by the construction going on along the segment. So they don't always focus on maintaining the flow of traffic that should occur. So once the project is complete, we would expect with the opening of all the lanes and the lack of the distraction that's currently there, that should take care of a lot of the current issues that may be seen while driving through the area. The final configuration, it will still be capable of handling the current traffic flow as well as traffic increases for the foreseeable future. Again, there were many traffic studies that were put together to ensure that the additional lanes added to the project or to this segment for this project would take care of the influx of traffic we expect for many years to come.
Thanks, Matt. We have another question regarding the Castaic Soundwall landscaping. Will it have irrigation?
That's something I can look into, but Matt or Terry, do you guys know if it will have irrigation?
Yeah, I can answer that again, Spray. Again, this is Matt Walsh. So the project generally does not have any irrigation going in place. The planting that will be installed at the end of this project will be plants that are native to the area and not require additional watering. They will be able to germinate and grow without the additional watering because, again, they are native to the area. There will be a follow-on project after this that will have additional landscaping with trees and shrubs. Again, those will not have any irrigation installed around the trees and shrubs. However, there will be some watering performed by that contractor under that contract, just because the trees and shrubs do actually require some watering to establish in the area. But for this project, what we'll be seeing at the end of the project, we will not have any specific irrigation installed because it is native plants that do not require the extra irrigation.
Thank you, Matt. Well, Soraya, it looks like those are all of our questions in the Q&A. Was there anything else you wanted to add before we close out this presentation?
There was one question that asked if this presentation would be available. So yes, as you can see on the screen, this meeting is being recorded. So that the presentation recording and the PDF copy of the presentation will be available on our project website by the ending of this week. So you can always visit our website at metro.net/I-5 enhancements to see this presentation as well as any of the presentations that we've conducted or hosted over the past 5 years.
Great. We appreciate everyone's time joining us to get updates about the I-5 enhancement project. And we'll see you back here on November 4th for the next meeting. Enjoy your evening. Take care.
Thank you, guys.